Welcome to Fight the Psyops. I'm Joey Vantes. Thank you so much for being a part of the Legend Members Only community. This is part of your exclusive content. And I just want to give a big shout out to you guys, whether you've purchased merch, you've donated money besides, or you've shared this out to other people, telling them to come and sign up as well. We are able to be here on air because of you. We're waking people up. We're advertising, marketing, and being able to put real dollars and cents behind this thing because of your support. So I want to thank you because that's what this is all about. Guys, look, right now it's the holiday season. All my merch, there's discounted merch, plus there's also free shipping, promo code Vantes for anything that you buy in the store. Make sure you pick something up for yourself, loved one, family member, friend. Pick something up, support what we're doing here. And also, all right, my book, How to Fight Ideological Subversion. That's my free gift to you for being part of this community. There's the ebook and audiobook, so make sure you download your copies so you get those ASAP. Shows you not only how to recognize ideological subversion, but also how to fight against psychological warfare and tactics to use to wake others up as well. Now today, the topic I want to cover with you guys is something we've heard across the news, and unless you've been living under a rock, you've already heard about this situation. Donald Trump in the state of Colorado has been removed from their ballot in 2024. Why? Well, they said that based upon the 14th Amendment, Section 3, there's a rule that governs it and gives them the right to do this. They had 7 judges come together. 4 of those judges said yes to remove him. 3 of them said no. But let me give you some context to start this whole thing off with to show you what this section specifically says as we start this whole thing up. It says here that no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or an elector of president or VP or hold any office, civil or military, under the U.S. or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the U.S. or as a member of any state legislature or an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the U.S. shall have engaged in insurrection. So in layman's terms, what they've basically said is, Donald Trump, you cannot be on the ballot because you have been convicted of being an insurrectionist. You have committed insurrection. So naturally, what did I do? I said, okay, they're labeling it this way and they're going to put this out in the news. But if I know the media over the last couple years especially, they've been sharing stories that have been completely false and fabricated, flat out lies as an agenda to carry their narrative, because they know most people won't do research and they'll just read the articles and say, okay, yep, he was convicted of that. The guy committed insurrection. So I went and began to look up on state and federal court sites to look up court records, court documents, to see if I could find anything pertaining to a conviction on DJT, Donald J. Trump, in regards to a conviction of insurrection. I went everywhere, and I even went and used AI. I went to ChatGPT, I went to Bard, and I said, Bard, tell me, has Donald Trump been convicted of insurrection? And this is what Bard shot back to me. It said, listen, as of today, December 20th, 2023, Donald J. Trump has not been convicted of insurrection or of any crime related to the January 6th Capitol riot. So if he hasn't been convicted and there's no pending cases, as I understand it, in the U.S., you are innocent until proven guilty. So how in the world were they able to even get this case, number one, to be brought up to this court? And secondly, how are they even able to rule upon it if there was no basis given to them to even make a ruling in the first place? It doesn't make sense. So I wanted to find out from these 3 judges that said no to this, what was their reasoning? Did they say anything? And so I had to go unbiased. I wanted to look at different websites, but I'll show you and highlight something from you from CNN Politics, which one of the chief justices is Brian Boatwright. He's one of the 3, what they call here on CNN as a dissenter, right? And he wrote that he believes the Colorado election law was not enacted to decide whether a candidate engaged in insurrection. He goes on to say, in the absence of an insurrection-related conviction, I would hold that a request to disqualify a candidate under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is not a proper cause of action under Colorado's election code. Basically put, if Donald J. Trump has not had a conviction of being an insurrectionist or committing insurrection, then we have no premise to even have this whole thing happen. It's a sham. It doesn't make sense. So what that tells me, or what it brings to mind and makes me question, is why would this be brought up in the first place if the real intention behind all this was not to cause some type of uprising, some type of upheaval, some type of formality of people coming together and saying, you know what, bro, we're no longer going to post on social media. We're no longer going to take this to X or to IG or Facebook or YouTube. We're going to bear arms and we're going to hit the streets and make something happen about it. The fuel that's been poured out on social media right now is insane. And you can't deny it. You cannot see it. It's everywhere. It's been poured out and people are pissed off because they're saying, listen, they're trying to take away my right to vote for who I want to. They're trying to take away the right to free and fair elections. They realize that in the polls, this guy has surged in every regard. He's taken over. They know it's going to be a landslide. So the only way that we can stop this from happening is to cut him off, cut the legs off, and remove him from even being a candidate or an eligible candidate to be voted for in the first place. And I believe in looking at this, understanding the state of affairs, there truly is an establishment. I mean, it's clear and apparent. There's an establishment that's trying to retain control, but they made a huge mistake by doing it this early in the game. It was stupid because by doing so, they are causing people to rise up. Or was that the plan? To get people to have a civil war, unrest, go crazy, get violent so that they can shut it down and implode everything from within. And you know what this reminds me of? This brought to memory just last week when my wife and I were chilling, watching Netflix, caught the movie Leave the World Behind. And if you haven't seen it, just to give you context, it's about a massive cyber attack that happens in the US. Everything gets shut down from a data perspective, internet, cell phones, all that, right? Even satellites. And the thing is, when this occurs, there was one particular moment in the film where this guy has a dawning event, right? A realization like, oh crap, I think I know what's going on here. One of my clients actually told me that this was going to happen. And this is the tactic that took place to cause everybody to get fearful and not know what's going on, and then eventually implode in on itself. Civil war, unrest, and it was just going to cause a nation to deteriorate from within itself. Because a house divided against itself, we know, cannot stand. And so one moment in the movie, they're up in upstate New York, I believe, somewhere, and they look and peer out from the woods and can see Manhattan, and they see a plume of smoke going up. You can hear, gunshots going off or whatever. So it looks like there's some civil war taking place. Then to follow up with that, as soon as we finish watching the movie, I'm on Twitter, on X, and I see a new trailer for a different movie called Civil War that looks like they have a shot from that exact sequence. And I'll try to find that for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. But it is a movie about states seceding from the US. And then there's this huge uproar. There's war, all kinds of craziness happening. And I think that it is predictive programming. They're trying to make this happen. They're telling us what's going to happen before it happens, except it's accelerated because obviously the day and age that we live in. And I just see this as something potentially being played out on us. Are they trying to do this to shut things down, to lock everything down again? Martial law. Hey, there's no longer going to be any more elections. You guys saw the video that I posted up about Alexa, the dude who's asking Alexa, hey, Alexa, what's going to happen? Who's going to be the next president? They said, there's not going to be an election. Is that real? Is that what they're trying to do here? One last play from the global elite to retain control. And they understand people are waking up and they have to make a power play because they know we are strong in our numbers. I don't know. That's just, it brings that question to mind. So diving back in here to this situation specifically with Donald Trump. And here's the other thing, guys. I mean, I don't know if you thought about this. What's crazy about this to me is, okay, speaking of January 6th, right? Because that's what they're saying. He committed insurrection. It's pertaining to January 6th when all those people went to the Capitol building and they try to say they came in here and barged in and, committed all kinds of crime. And they made it seem like people went in with M16s or, with AK-47s and they ran up in there and were shooting people up and murdering people and they blew up the building and lit it on fire and watched it burn down. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the videotape. I've watched hours and hours of videotape that they finally released because they had a FOIA, right? A Freedom of Information Act request, and they had to release this stuff. I went and watched this stuff. I mean, there's people walking through things, walking through hallways, holding their flags. The security guards and the Capitol Police are guiding people through the facility, walking them through. It was more of an uproar and rage when people went there just recently for the Free Palestine riot or rally that they were trying to have. They went in and occupied the Capitol. It looked crazier then than it did in the January 6th tapes that they released. And what's even crazier to me is people are in jail. You have like 60, 70, 80-year-old grandmas and grandpas locked up for 20, 30, 40 years. Like they got full sentences from going to January 6th and just being there and walking around. But yet you have this guy, Aiden Zarobsky, the Senate staffer who was recently caught having gay sex inside of room 216 of the Hart Senate building, and a guy just gets a slap on the hand and gets fired. No legal actions taken against him whatsoever. That's okay. In a Senate building where they had people like judges, right? Supreme Court justices who were, had their nominations and had their confirmation hearings. The 9/11 commission took place there. You got all these things happening special inside this building, the US and USSR nuclear hearings, but this guy just gets fired. He doesn't get, but these people from January 6th who are walking around in a building are in jail 10, 20, 30, 40 years plus. Total insanity. It's clear to see that there is an agenda at play here. And if you don't see that, something's wrong with you. But I looked at this and I said, you know what, let me kind of dive a little bit deeper into the context and the writing, right? Let me look into the context of their decision on how they came to this conclusion and some of the details surrounding the paperwork that they wrote out, the legal documents, right, for the findings that Donald Trump was going to be removed from the Colorado ballot. So I found this piece that was interesting and I highlighted it because this is the point that I want to drive home here. It says here, therefore, to maintain the status quo pending any review by the U.S. Supreme Court, we stay our ruling until January 4th, the day before the Secretary's deadline to certify the content of the presidential primary ballot. If review is sought in the Supreme Court before the stay expires on January 4th, then the stay shall remain in place and the Secretary will continue to be required to include President Trump's name on the 24 presidential primary ballot until the recipient of any order or mandate from the Supreme Court. What that is saying and why this is interesting, let me break both of these down. What it's saying is, look, we're going to take his name off. We know it's probably going to get dragged up to the Supreme Court because his legal team's not going to let this slide. So if it does get dragged up to the Supreme Court, right, before the stay of our ruling, which is January 4th, then we'll allow his name to be on that ballot so people can still vote for him if they want to, but it'll be reserved up there in the Supreme Court so they can finagle and make their ruling. And once they make their ruling, if they determine that it should be off the ballot, then we're just going to remove it. So those votes that people made are invalid anyway. It doesn't matter. It's like it never even happened. So here's what I think about that. I think, how smart is it in a chess move, stupidly, but a chess move, to say, look, let's let his name go up. Let people vote for him. If the election comes to the point where it's neck and neck, or maybe he's winning just a little bit over whoever the other candidate is, and Colorado's numbers can help to overturn this election, then what we'll do, or we'll just say that that's the case, right? We'll say that it's neck and neck. It's not a landslide victory. It's a neck and neck. Then we'll come in, if it looks like it, we'll make it look that way, like it's neck and neck. And we'll just, at the last minute, just pull Colorado and say, oh, yeah, you know what? It was found out that he did commit insurrection, and so we have to remove his name from the ballot. Votes invalidated, other candidate wins, end of story. And if that happens, I'm telling you right now, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I believe it will be the end of America. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. I hope I'm dead wrong. I hope I look back at this and I say, you know what? But I think people will rise up to such a degree, pissed off, knowing what's coming next, that they are going to say, freak it. I'm giving my life for this. They're going to bear arms. They're going to join forces, and they're going to make some noise, and they're going to go out with a bang. I think we are on the verge of something that we've never seen before in this country. And I don't know if there's much that can be done to stop it, if I'm being genuinely honest. So I think our job in this, especially as a believer, as a faith believer in Christ, I am praying, I'm believing for peace. I'm hoping that people will wake up and come to their senses and stop this nonsense so we can come back together and join forces, team humanity, right? It's not about left or right. It's about team humanity. Come together and work together and defeat these globalists and tear down this regime and start fresh, because I think that's necessary. But I'm telling you, we got to wake people up, prepare, get yourself ready, take care of your family, watch over you and yours, because we don't know what's coming next. And we have to do our best to cover who we have and what we have in front of us. So that's my take on it, guys. I want to hear from you. Let me know. Drop me your DMs. Listen, guys, there's going to be a couple new sections coming up in the next few series. We're also going to include a community where you guys can actually post, ask questions, drop your comments. And then also, I'm going to be dropping a phone number here pretty soon so you guys can call in. Leave your voice messages with your take, your questions, your input on things, and we're going to begin highlighting those on air so you guys can hear them, see them. You can send videos as well. Number of things that are going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to 2024 with you guys. And also, again, right now, that Christmas sale that's going on, free shipping, promo code Vantes. Go to the store, pick something up, shirt, hat. Those are available right now for shipping immediately. Get somebody that last minute Christmas present. And also, guys, you can also hit us with your donations to support and further move what we got going on. Tell your friends, tell your family members about Fight the Psyops and this Legend members only community. We want you guys here. Let's move it forward. Let's wake the people up. Till next time, see you soon.